Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So with the release of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Forbidden Limited List update, as well as like the results of a few events, I think we're in for a very interesting format very soon. After some relegations and some thoughts and like testing a few decks, I think I arrived at the conclusion that it won't change like the more popular decks at the moment, but it opens the doors for other more obscure decks that were not as popular. I think that's like Konami's like contribution and like goal, at least in the current TCG. They noticed how diverse the format was and how we have a lot of really good strategies that are very decent and can be competitive, but at the same time are not like super overbearing and like define the landscape of the duel around them. I don't think that like a few of the other decks that were doing very well already are going to change. I think Kashtira, Labyrinth, Branded, just to name a few, are still going to be popular. I think we're going to still see them around. However, with a few changes, I felt like maybe some decks that were not as popular last format could make a resurgence. The one I'm gonna talk about today is Tearlaments. For people who have been following the channel and have been following like since day one or like the first month, they should already know I'm a very big fan of this deck, especially the Lunalight version. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about why I decided to keep playing this version outside of other Tearlament decks, and the changes that we have to make because the last version of the deck played Cyber-Stein, and Cyber-Stein is about to become forbidden in the forbidden list. And we did have combos and strategies that did revolve around this card. It was very easy to do, it was very easy to get into, it facilitated a lot of really powerful end boards that really made it really hard for your opponent to break. But that's no longer the case. I'm going to talk about the replacements that I made since the last list I showed, and I guess what strategies can be done with the deck. So, alongside Cyber-Stein, the other card that was in the main deck was Super Polymerization. I feel like Gamma Seal is a better choice. I replaced it with Gamma Seal. And the one Cyber-Stein, I replaced it with Emerald Bird. The reason for Gamma Seal is it's an aqua monster, so it can be used as a material for Kaleido Heart. And my biggest issue with Kaleido Heart was that we have very limited tier names. So we didn't have a lot of aqua monsters to work with if they fall into the graveyard. But if we play Gamma Seal, another card I thought about contemplating on playing was the Emerald Tortoise, like the Crystal Beast, and playing like the Rainbow Bridge, just because it's just another aqua monster, and if you do open Foolish Burial Goods, it becomes a +2. Like, which is not that bad at all. But I kind of like Terrific Karma because Terrific Karma can add you Scream and can also add you Soliac, which is very important in tier since we don't have Kit Kalos anymore. It's also not the worst draw in this deck because you do have Lunalight Perfume. But yeah, back to Gamma Seal. It's just a good card for clearing like problematic cards on the board. Tears don't have a really big issue playing through boards as long as there are no floodgates. Floodgate monsters like a Rice Heart and Naturia Beast, just to name a few, are kind of problematic for this deck, so you kind of want to play around those. But if it's like monster interruptions or background interruptions, this deck does not struggle at all, like with decks or strategies like those. Which is really cool for a deck like this one. Okay, so Emerald Bird. So one issue I always had with Lunalights in the past was running out of names if you cycle through multiple copies of Perfume, as well as the Serenade Dance. So I just thought having another name would have been good. If you mill this, like in the later, if you mill this while already having a Luna name engraved, or banish, because this can recur from banish, that's very important. It serves as another extender. It's another level 4. It can unbrick your hands if you have multiple Luna names in your hand. It's just overall very solid. I just felt like I like it. Not a lot of people are fans of this card, but I feel like it warrants a spot here. The other change I did, I like bumped Tearlaments Scream to 3. I used to play 1 before, but I arrived at that conclusion that like the more you mill with this deck, the better your deck is, especially with the Lunalight versions, because the Lunalight cards, like, they themselves generate advantage as well, and they synergize with Tears just very, very well. Why am I playing the Lunalight version and not playing like a pure version, or not playing like other versions to play other cards? Like, why am I not playing Fenrir or Planet? The number one reason is these all work, like, this has almost perfect synergy with the deck, with Tearlaments. Like, they are a fusion based archetype, they work upon being milled or milling. Like, they have cards that facilitate milling, like, in general, like the Bujin Tay monster, for example. They're level 4, so you can level 4 access to the deck. Cards I have that I should consider that are not in here yet are Exiton Knight and Zeus. I think those could be very welcome inclusions. But the one card I am playing in the extra deck that I also changed, since Exterior can no longer be like accessible, is Invoked Caliga. Why did I choose this card and not like something like El Shadow Winda? The reason for Caliga is it works with King of the Swamp, which means you don't have to dedicate changing your main deck just to summon a Floodgate. Caliga is also really cool because it's a level 4 and it's a Dark Fusion monster, and it's also a beast. So like, I had one situation where there was a rivalry on board, and I ended up getting to Caliga, which made it so I could get into Guardian Chimera because they are both beasts, and I managed to like pop the rivalry and kept playing and just kept going. But yeah, like, I just thought that this deck without Cyber-Stein just needs something really, really powerful to end on part of its end board, since we're not playing Crime in the main deck, and sometimes just Soliek is just not enough. I think if you have like Planet plus Keldo could be really strong. If you get to roll Kalos plus Appaloosa, the deck is really, really strong as well. Um, yeah, like that's about it. Like I'm just going to go to solo mode and like showcase like a few hands. Like it just shows you that this deck, like, still it's very, very good at what it does. The number one reason for like the the lack of contribution with Tearlaments in general is just how popular and how oppressive Kashtira was as a deck. Kashtira is still going to be popular. Like you're still going to see a Rise Heart. That's why you see the Gamma Seals in here. But if you take that apart, like you don't really struggle against other decks. Like, and like you just can see that this deck just flows very naturally with what it does. Like you can see the synergy right now with like the cards that you're currently playing. Like it's just very, very streamlined. It's just very, very easy to do. Like as you can see here, I got perfume. I dumped the thing, the other Luna trap. Now I'm going to get. Let's get Tiger since we already had the trap engraved. We can Trivia Karma, banish. This can add us like Soliak or Scream. If we mill one of them, then I guess it's a better idea to just keep it engraved in case we can grab the other one. Let's do Foolish Goods. Yeah, let's just goods for Scream. Scream, add Soliak. We can Trivia Karma for the other one. Trivia Karma, add us Scream. We can scale the Tiger, activate Scream. We can Serenade Dance, dump Soliak, summon us Kaleidochick. Soliak triggers. We still haven't normal summoned, so that's very important. Let's grab us Reinhardt. No point in using Kaleidochick since we already have Yellow Martin engraved. But what we can do is we can Tiger bring back the Yellow Martin. We can trigger Scream and just mill cards. We mill 3. Sadly, we dumped the Emerald Bird, which you can make the argument that you could have dumped another Luna for this, but the game's very RNG. You just don't know if you're going to mill this card or not. Let's activate Kashtira. Mill 2 more. That's another really cool thing about the deck, is like you mill a lot more with this deck than like regular tier versions. Let's make Prost cheap. We can Yellow Martin bounce this. Activate Tiger again. Tiger Declare. Bring this back. We don't care if we get to into a fusion or not, because we do have Reinhardt, and Reinhardt will get us there. You can make Forest Tricks to get Sephiroth and keep playing, then dump Merly, and then like do other stuff. Let's go to a Bujin. Bujin, no 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We milled Perfume. We milled all 3 copies of King of the Swamp. Let's see what else we can do. We still haven't milled Scream, which is something we might want to get to. Let's dunk the turtle, banish. Let us grab some other. Let us grab black sheep. Is Polly engraved? Nope, Polly's not engraved. So we can dump the black sheep and grab Polly. That's another cool thing about the deck. Wait, is Polly really engraved? Oh, Polly's already in our hand. Okay. Yeah, I'm blind. Ignore that. So, what else can we do? Oh yeah, we can dump the black sheep and we can just grab back Emerald Bird back to hand. That's something we can do. That's another thing. Like, you're gonna have to practice a lot with this kind of deck because there's a lot of lines that you're probably gonna miss. Let's see what else we can do. Let us summon Reinhardt effect. Let us dump Halfness. We don't have to dump Merly since we have Sprint in our extra deck. Bottom and bottom. Okay, so let us summon Kaleido. We can do Pearl Rhino, pop the Kaleido, and we can also cross cheap and also bring something back. Let us bring back the black sheep. This gets dumped. You can trigger Kaleido Heart bring itself back. That will dump us Scream. I didn't even notice that Scream was milled earlier. And I just remembered we dumped all copies of Soliak. So, kind of sad. But if that didn't happen, you know, that would have been the line. Like, you would have just grabbed this and have your Soliak interruption with Kaleido Heart. Then you can, link all of these away into Appaloosa, and then you can turn these two into Time Thief. This board is more common than you think it is. Like, yes, I opened kind of good, and yes, I milled a lot of cards, but this is a typical end board you're probably gonna see in the Luna deck. Which is really, really good because you have your Soliak interruption, you have your Kaleido Heart that can bounce something, Appaloosa is multiple negates, and Redoer can tag itself like to trigger Sharon, which will make you another fusion. You can make this. You can make Drago. Well, there are no fusions currently, so you cannot make you cannot make Dragostapelia yet, but you can make Caliga. Since we have King of the Swamp, and Caliga is really, really good. You can also make Grapha, really, really good as well. Help dodges evenly, which I think is going to be more popular in the format. You can also make Mud Dragon, protect you from targeting. Like, yeah, I think Tearlaments is going to be in a better spot moving forward. I think, like, with the hits they did to Kashtira and the hits they did to the other decks, like, this deck will struggle a lot less than it used to. Like, and people are going to get mad at you because you will sack the living hell out of them with your one-offs. Like, I have Sharon Agido. This just feels like the old tier deck. Like, we mill 3. Now we chain block Soliak, Akido, and Scream. Like, let's see what else we can grab here. We have a normal summon, so we can grab the Rhino Heart. We can also use the Halfness if we want to. but I'm not gonna use halfness. We are just going to mill with the other two. We got to perfume and serenade dance, which is really, really good. Let's banish the serenade. Don't scream. This deck is extremely consistent at what it does, and like it's really, really explosive. So, in the past, Lunalights have been known for just being very, very degenerate, just because of how creative you can get with Dugaris, how creative you can get with dumping cards, like just a lot of synergy. Like the Lunalight Orcus deck was really, really strong until like they hit Azathoth. So it's like something very, very welcomed. Over here now we have a myriad of options. We can keep milling with the Kashtira. I'm not gonna mill because like we already have a lot of pieces engraved that we already need. What we need is to access the Lunalight stuff more. So let us grab this. Kalioshik already did this effect. It's already yellow. Its name is now Yellow Martin. Tiger, bring back. We don't need to make 4 strikes since we already have Zephyros engraved. Let's make Cross Sheep. That's another thing. If they Nibiru you, like your Tearlaments will trigger, which means you will get more. You're just going to plus out of it even more and more. So it's very dangerous for your opponent to nib. Like but now we just bounce the Tiger, we rescale the Tiger, we activate the Tiger again. We'll overlay this into the Bujin. Excuse the noise in the background. Bujin effect, we mill 5. Kaleidocheck was milled, so we can grab Poly to hand. That's another really cool thing about the deck. Like it has more synergy with Poly than other strategies. Sadly, we didn't mill like a name to fuse, but that's fine. I mean, Harness is already engraved and Sharon is already in thing, so it's kind of fair. We only have Merly engraved. We do Sephiroth, pretend we lost 400. We have Tiger. Tiger can bring back Black Sheep. We bring back Black Sheep. Something really cool we can do, I'll show it right now, is we can make Sprint. Sprint will dump the Merly. Let's put Merly here since we're gonna fuse with it. Bottom, and let's fuse it with the Halfness. Let's make Aurora. Cross ship triggers, and we're going to bring back King of the Swamp with the Black Sheep. Now we can Poly, fuse these two away. This will make Grapha. Or, yeah, these make Grapha. Now you can trigger the Garura. And the Garura will draw a card. And we haven't even normal summoned. Let's see what else we can do here. We can just Rhino effect. Dump the Halfness. We can trigger the Halfness. Another card we could have made instead of Garura was Mud Dragon, just to turn into Redoer with Chiron. But yeah, we'll put this, and this all three at the bottom. We'll end on Kaleido Heart. We can turn all of these into Apollo. And we end on Zodiac. And this is really strong. Like, Keldor is engraved, so that's already an interruption, which turns into a double interruption with the planet. We have the 3 negate, we have the Omni negate, we have another sub-monster negate with this, which will trigger this, which will dump us another tier name, which will probably make us fuse again, which also works with this. And yeah, like, the deck's just crazy. Like, I don't think there's a lot to explain here. Like, I guess I'll show you like one duel that I had yesterday. This is on the new format. I'll fast forward it. I'm playing against Sky Striker. Sky Striker got back multiple copies of multi-roll and multiple copies of engage, so we're probably going to see this deck again. Like, will it be as good now than it was on 2018 and 2019? It's very soon to tell, but I'm just showing what I'm doing. I activated Scream, I activated Sharon, and this is what I talked about. Like, this, like, if you're not facing like a Rise Heart, or you're not facing like Floodgates, it's really hard to stop this deck. Like, you know, you can have a lot of interruptions, but if you open very optimally, there are a lot of cards that bait your opponent. Like, he already wasted the Ash on the Pearl Rhino, and I'm still going. Like, I think he should have ashed the Chiron, but that's just me. And this is really strong. He's about to quit the duel because I have like 4 chain links, including Guardian Chimera, which is another really good, which is another reason why Poly is really strong in this deck. Like, a lot of tier lists don't play Poly anymore. They just play King of the Swamp just because of it's a catalyst. But if you're just going to do that, you might as well just play any other monster that's not an like, it's not just King of the Swamp. Like, in this deck, King of the Swamp is really strong because it serves as another, like, it has a second function because Lunalights already flow very well with polymerization. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my ramblings with this deck. You might see this deck in the future at more events, who knows, but like, I just like covering the more obscure decks instead of the decks that people think are just going to be as popular, like Sky Striker and Draco Slayer, and like Kashtira still, and other stuff, because I feel like in a very open format like this one, the more obscure decks are going to do very well in the game, and I feel like this deck falls into that category. But I hope you enjoyed. Keep practicing and keep dueling. Later, guys.